Hi everybody, welcome to the Ivy Nook YouTube channel. I'm Jess and today we are going to be learning how to make a dried flower wreath. They're lovely pieces of home decor, so if you're an interior enthusiast, you love doing a bit of DIY, or maybe you just like to spend some time at the weekend just chilling out, losing yourself and getting creative, this is a great little tutorial for you. They also make amazing nights in with the girls, so if you want to get a couple of drinks in, have a nice time, yeah, let's see what we can make. So hopefully by the end of the video you will have learned the different types of wreaths that you can make, and how to pick your flowers, what types of flowers you can use, what work well for certain wreaths and not others. And then obviously at the end you should hopefully have a lovely little creation of your own that you can show off to everybody and be really proud of. So when it comes to choosing a style and what kind of wreath you want to make, there's a couple of different options. The first one is a half wreath, so similar to what you can see behind me, and also this cute bunny tails wreath. As you can see, so the idea is to use a decorative hoop, and your florals will take up sort of half the wreath in whatever shape you wanted. And the rest of the wreath is just left to look pretty, basically. They're quite a boho-y option. You can get some really nice bamboo hoops. These ones are like an antique brass finish. Both are available to order via the website if you so wish. The others are, you can get some full wreaths, which is obviously like similar to a Christmas wreath. Basically the florals will cover like the whole hoop, and instead of using a thin base, majority of the time you can use a thick straw base or a base of moss if you're using fresh flowers. This will just help to create a bit of fullness if you're looking for that wow factor in a full wreath. Okay, so to get started, the minimal basic things that you are going to need to do your wreath are a hoop or a wreath base similar to this one. This is a lovely bamboo one with a cute little red fringing detail on, so yeah, I'm going for the boho-y look with this one for sure. You'll need a good pair of scissors, some that are pretty sharp because you're going to possibly need to cut through some quite woody, thick stems. So yes, make sure you're making life easy for yourself with a good pair of scissors. And then you're going to need a reel of floristry wire or crafting wire. This comes in various sizes, but you'll want something, you don't want the thin stuff or like the sections. Really, you could just do with a whole reel because it makes it a lot more secure. You could also possibly need things like a glue gun depending on what you're going to be adding on, but I will go through that a bit later. And of course you'll need some flowers, which brings us on to our next step. Okay, so now you have picked your lovely flowers and you know what you're going to use, we can start prepping them and making them a bit more manageable to put on our hoop. So to start with, if you want to take some of your stems, you just need to make sure that they're a bit more manageable in size. So for example, there's quite a few, you might get some little bits pop off like that, but great, we don't need to cut that one down. So you'll see that this is quite branching, this gypsophilia. So what we're going to do is just wherever you've got a branch like that, just snap off. And then from where the flowers are, you want to leave a couple of inches just so that you've got some stem to work with there. So if I carry on here with this one, as you'll see, I'll perhaps do, you want to cut them so they're all like, they're varying sizes, you don't all want them to be exactly the same, just so we can create a bit of variety on the wreath. So this one I'll perhaps chop there, and then we'll go there, that one there, There we go. So as you can see, we've got a few different sizes here, so that when we add them to our base, they're all going to look quite natural looking and a bit higgledy-piggledy. Same for the miscanthus. So this is obviously quite branching. You're not going to be able to use, unless you're doing a big wreath, you're not going to be able to use the whole stem. So with dried grasses, I tend to pull like so, pull the strands off. They might come out singly or little clumps, but then they're easy to just tie on later. So we just keep pulling these off like this. And then we'll perhaps keep that little bit at the top. And that's that one. So with the Honesty, similar to the Gypsophilia, this is quite branching. So again, you want to sort of cut off different stem lengths. So here, perhaps use these. Break those ones off. We'll cut that one there, like so. Obviously you will get some bits ping off, but not to worry, it's fine. All part and parcel. I'll cut that bit off there, like so. So we're getting all kind of different little stem lengths here. And then the delphiniums we can leave as they are because they're quite short anyway. So with the bunny tails, again, we'll just cut those to a few different lengths. So I've got a couple of inches on that one, and then that one. Perhaps cut that one to there. There's no real rule at this stage, we just want to make them much more manageable to use as we tie them down and not have lots of loose stems everywhere. And the same with the hill flowers. So I sell these in like a little bunch of 20. So to make it easier, what we can do, we'll just chop those off again, a couple of inches. That's those done. And then again with the oats, these do come, if you order them on the website, they are in little bunches as well. So the same thing you can just do with the hill flowers. Just chop them off about a couple of inches down from where the seeds start. And then finally these cute little rice flowers. Again, these are on quite branching stems, so we'll just cut those down a couple of inches below the flowers. These are a bit delicate, but I love them so much, so we might have a few casualties, but they'll look good when they're in. Okay, so now everything's cut down, you need to clear yourself a little work area. and take your wire reel, and then if you work out whereabouts you want your florals to go, so whether you want them from top to bottom, left to right, maybe you want them a little off centre, so wherever you kind of want the end of one of your ends of the wreath to be, if you just start a little further down, and then what you want to do is wrap the end of the wire reel around the hoop base. Keep it really tight. Wind it round maybe 5 or 6 times. Give it a good pull. And now we've got a nice secure starting point to start wrapping our florals on. So when you start, we want to sort of, the end of the wreath wants to be quite free and flowing. So I'm going to pop my first piece of flower onto the wire. So what you want to do as you're going along is, so I'll be using this piece of miscanthus to start with, and then where I've wound the first bit of wire around, you want to pop your piece of flower over the top of that. So what that will do as we go round, it will start to cover up the wiring that you've been doing, so hopefully we won't see it. So let's just make sure I'm quite happy with that. And then what I'm going to do is 1, 2, 3 wraps of wire around the base of this little miscanthus stem here. And then make sure you're pulling it quite tight, but you don't want it too tight. Obviously with it being dried, you don't want to then start breaking all the stems. So just make sure it's secure and tight, but nothing's breaking underneath. So, and then with your next piece, I might go for a bit of gypsophilia, I think. So again, you want to place that, as we work our way round, depending on whether you're left or right-handed, you'll be moving clockwise or anti-clockwise. So I'm right-handed, so as you're looking at this now, I'll be going anti-clockwise around. So what you want to be doing is, as you put your flowers on, you're moving around, but placing them on top of each other. As I said, this way that ensures that you're covering the wire up. So I'll just come down here, do a couple to show you. So I've wrapped that round 3 times and given it a bit of a tug. And then what I might do, pop a delphinium in here as well. One, 2, 3, and then we'll just pop some more. Put some more miscanthus on there. Make sure that's nice and feathery looking. We want it a bit whimsical. So again, let's wrap. One, 2, 3. So as you can see, because as I've worked around, I've been putting the flowers on top of each other as I come down the hoop and on top of the wire, you can't see my wiring underneath, which is what we're looking for. So with the different sizes, you want to be putting some of your bigger stems around the outside, because that will create the fullness of the wreath, make it look nice and full, lots of volume around the outside, and make it look a bit bigger. And then the smaller bits you want to be putting around the middle, because that will help to keep the circular shape. Obviously intersperse different sizes of different bits of foliage as you're going along. That will just help to keep it interesting, and then as you start working around, you'll really start to see it coming alive. So I'll carry on and let you carry on, and we'll catch up shortly. So as you can see, a little update, and we're really starting to take some shape now. You can see I've interspersed a lot of the different flowers in, grouped together the little star flowers. That just helps to increase their impact. So you could do the same with yours. I've used a little bit of the pink rice flower there. So yes, so far so good. Okay, so I'm maybe about halfway now, and you can see it's really starting to take shape. You've just got to stick with it and it will really start coming together. So I'm going to continue and work round probably to about here, and we'll see what it looks like at the end. Okay, so if you have resumed the video, I guess you're coming towards the end and you want to know what to do with your wire and how to finish it off. So if you're at the stage now, if you've done a half wreath, you're probably looking something a little like this. You have some stems sticking out here, but you should still have your wire attached just here. If you're doing a full wreath, what you'll be doing is carrying the same principle all the way up until you get to the top, but you'll realise that it gets a bit difficult when you come to finishing off where you've started. So I'll go into that in a little bit, but first of all, if you've half wreathed, what you're going to do is roll your wire reel out to, again, a few inches, 2 to 3 inches, and snip. And then, as we did at the start, what you'll do is wrap the end of the wire around those last few stems and the hoop. And then with the very end, if you just poke that back in to some of the wire that you've already wound around, and that should help to keep that nice and secure. So if you've done a full wreath, what you'll want to do is, as soon as you'll work to the same principle. So keep going all the way around. Once you get into where you started, it does get a bit more difficult. You'll have to really start, it just gets a bit tight in there basically. So do your best not to catch anything, but again, you'll want to cut your wire off at the same point, 2 to 3 inches, wrap it around a few times and then poke it back through either end, whichever way you've come. So, because we've done a half wreath, full wreaths, you should now be finished and you'll have a lovely product, a lovely nice wreath to hang on your front door, a lovely wreath to hang on a wall at the back of a door. They're not suitable for outdoors dried wreaths because obviously, unfortunately with this weather we get, it's not suitable. So yes, with a half wreath, you'll probably want to finish the end off. So we'll just chop these. Next, we'll chop these last few bits of stems off here. Just be careful, some bits might not be, you don't want to poke around too much just in case you start twisting a few bits round. But just get in, chop those little straggly bits off. So that's looking a bit more tidier now. And then I've got some ribbon to finish this off. And this is just some pink velvet ribbon that I had left over. You can use whatever ribbon you like. There's some lovely hand-dyed silks on Etsy, some chiffon ribbons. They're lovely, really, really nice quality. And again, they just add a nice texture and softness to the finish. So what you want, I'm just going to singly wrap. I'm just going to do a basic tie. I'm not doing anything fancy here. I'm just going to keep it quite free and whimsy. And then I'll probably get some fabric scissors to trim those ends off. But that is my finished wreath. So if you wanted to add, you can buy some cute little flower heads, like some daisies, come as just flower heads. They're ideal for wreath making. You can get roses, gardenias, any sort of like just standard flower heads. And if you do have a glue gun, this is where you can just intersperse those along with the rest of your flowers, and that just adds another little finishing touch just in case you wanted some bigger florals in there. So let's see the finished piece. So this is my lovely little half wreath that I've done. It's quite Barbie-esque. It's Barbie release date this weekend. So now to hang it, these hoops that are available to order on my website, they already come with some really nice jute natural hangers. If yours doesn't come with a hanger, they're dead easy to pop on. You'll see this one is just a piece of jute and it's just a loop basically with the end tied, and then you want to pop that loop around one side, hook the rest of the string back through, and that creates you a nice secure tie. And now she's ready for hanging.